Alright, so we start this story in a village, and we see our main character Lythe telling his friend Sarah to wait and that this is too much for him. However, Sarah tells him that this is nothing, and that they are training to become holy knights in the future after all, telling Lythe that they need to work hard and then their efforts will pay off. We then see Lythe completely out of breath as he asks Sarah if there really is any meaning to this training. Sarah thinks for a bit before she says that, of course, because after all, if they train a lot, then they will get strong. Lythe falls down to the ground and wonders if that's really true. We then get into Lythe's thoughts as he says that Sarah is his childhood friend. He says that she is kind and good at looking after others, calling her like a sister to him, but moreover, she's his only friend and they have been training together to become holy knights. Sarah then stands up and says thank you for the food. Lythe is surprised that she is done already and that she is always able to finish so quickly. Lythe then asks Sarah if she knows how the citizens of the 4th Division live. The people there live in extreme poverty and they're doing everything that they can just to survive. But once you turn 18 in this world, then the gods will give you a class, such as Blademaster, Mage, Cleric, Farmer, or Merchant, just to name a few. Lythe says that they are not obligated to live according to the class given to them. However, those who become farmers or merchants cannot work as adventurers, explaining that combat-oriented classes such as warriors and mages are strong, so trying to surpass them through sheer effort is impossible. But just as he is about to finish his sentence, Sarah goes and tries to strike him down with her sword. Lythe asks her what she is doing, but Sarah says that she's sure that Lythe will be fine and that he will get a strong class. She then puts out her hand towards him before they go back to training. Lythe thought that with that being said, he still felt anxious. After that, we get to the present day and we see some people in a market. We then see a grown-up Lythe and Sarah. Lythe says that it feels like a festival here. Sarah looks to him and says that she bets that he couldn't sleep last night, and he says that she is right. While walking around, some store owners see Lythe and call him the Duke's son and say that today must be the class division day and wish him the best of luck. Sarah playfully says that someone is popular and Lythe tells her to shut up. They then walk into the division class place and Sarah is amazed that there are so many people here and that everyone is so serious. She notices that the happy ones got combat-oriented classes, while those who got ordinary classes look so disappointed. Suddenly, however, everyone starts to scream as Duke Ride Wellesley has arrived. Sarah tells Lythe that his dad is here, and everyone else says that it's the Holy Knight who rules this land. Sarah then spots someone behind Lythe's dad and asks Lythe who that is. Lythe says that it's his younger brother and that their mothers are different though. He says that his brother's mother is from the 4th Division, which is why his father, an aristocrat, doesn't acknowledge him, but that things could change if he gets a strong class. Suddenly, the priest calls up Kite Wellesley. Lythe and their father looks closely. The text then reveals that once you place your hand on the crystal, it'll reveal your class symbol. Suddenly, everyone looks shocked as Kite has gotten the Holy Knight symbol. It is revealed that the Holy Knight class is extremely rare and that only 1 out of 10,000 becomes one. While it's more likely to have the same class as your parents, the chances are still slim. However, Kite Wellesley was chosen as a Holy Knight. After that, their dad Ride goes up on the stage and says, "Well done," and calls Kite his son. Kite is mad and thinks that this is the first time he has called him his son and that he has never before expected anything from him. Kite knows that he's just trying to use him to maintain his authority, but he then thinks that it's whatever, as he also plans on exploiting his position in the Duke's family. Next up is Sarah. She walks up while she is super nervous and she tells herself to calm down. She closes her eyes, and it's revealed that she also is a Holy Knight, and everyone goes to congratulate her. She then goes to Lythe and says that it's his turn, and he looks nervous as he says, "Yeah." The priest then calls out Lythe's name, and Sarah tells him good luck. He walks past his father, who tells him to not disappoint him. Lythe says that he knows. He then thinks that Holy Knight is a rare class, and that 2 of them appearing on the same day and in the same temple is unheard of, but even then, he is determined to become a Holy Knight just like them. He puts his hand on the crystal and thinks that he won't lose to anyone, and that he will seize his power with his own hands, thinking that with all of his might, he will become stronger. However, as the priest goes to check on the results, he sees that there is nothing. Lythe asks him why the crystal isn't reacting and what it means, saying that it must be some kind of mistake and that this can't be happening. Sarah looks shocked while his father looks mad. The priest then says that Lythe's class is jobless. Lythe looks defeated as it's explained that upon turning 18, a class is bestowed by the gods as per the world's norm. However, Lythe received no such thing. We then get over to the Wellesley residence, where a maid knocks on Lythe's door. She walks in and lets him know that his father is calling for him. Lythe walks into his father's room, and his father tells him that their relationship as parent and child ends here. He tells him that starting today, he's no longer a member of the Wellesley household, nor does he see Lythe as his son, saying that the Wellesleys consider Kite as the eldest son now. He then tells Lythe that he has 1 hour and that he isn't welcome here anymore. Lythe looks absolutely crushed as he is hearing that. We then go over to Sarah, who is in some kind of pub. Someone tells her that she is one of them now, and that the drinks are on him tonight. Her father then tells everyone to drink up. However, Sarah is a bit embarrassed and tells him to stop. Someone else says that 2 holy nights at once is wild and that this town is incredible. Someone else says that they feel bad for Duke, explaining that people anticipated what class the Holy Knight's son would get only for him to get the jobless class. But still, his younger brother managed to become a Holy Knight. After that, we get to Lythe, who is outside his house with a bag that he has packed. He looks out towards the sky and says that he needs to get a job first, but still, what can a classless person like him do? We then get back to the pub, where someone says that they saw Lythe leave town earlier. This makes Sarah get up right away, and she starts running away at full speed, which confuses everyone. She then runs around the whole town, but is unable to find Lythe. We then get back to Lythe, and it's explained that since Lythe doesn't have a class, and he also doesn't have any skills, but in order to get by, he needs money, and without skills, the only thing he can do right now is work as a cargo guy. Suddenly someone calls him Sir Lythe and throws something at him. It's someone who he is carrying cargo for. He throws him some food and says that it's the commerce food, but that he's free to have some if he would like. The others just laugh, and someone else says that he's sure that this wouldn't suit his palate. However, he still picks up the apple and bites into it. He thinks that it's pathetic that he has to be carrying cargo and not a sword. The horses abruptly stop, and Lythe asks what's going on. Someone informs him that the forest is dangerous and that they should proceed cautiously. But as he does so, he is shot in the head with an arrow, and immediately after that, a group of bandits rush out of it. Another swordsman is preparing for battle, but he is slashed down without any problems. The bandits claim to have killed all the escorts, but they ask what they should do with the others. The boss simply gives the signal to kill everyone, but then someone screams, and it's Lythe who has picked up a knife and is going towards the boss. Although Lythe believes that he has been practicing swordplay for years, and that his lack of combat skills does not make him entirely useless, he is ultimately dealt with quickly, as the boss just knocks him to the ground with little to no effort. Lythe believes that he may not have a chance against a skilled opponent, but if he doesn't fight, then who will? The boss asks him who the heck he is and what a cargo kid like him thinks he is doing. The bandit boss labels Lythe a nuisance as he stands up once more. We then swiftly move on to the people in the cart, and the young girl asks her father what a class is. He tells her that it is the power that the gods give you when you turn 18, and that you can even say that your class determines your life. Blade masters are skilled fighters who can defend others, and since he is a merchant, his work entails trading, but there are also farmers who grow crops, for instance. The little girl then asks her father if Lythe is a blade master. We then see that Lythe is gasping for air, and the boss bandit uses his warrior skill and physique boost to begin chipping away at his sword. When Lythe loses concentration, the boss bandit takes his arm and spins him around, causing him to fall to the ground. Before Lythe can even get up, the boss bandit has already kicked him in the face. The boss bandit looks at him disappointed and says that this is why he thought that Lythe was weak, since he isn't even a blade master. Lythe, on the other hand, says that the boss bandit is strong. The boss bandit then holds his blade towards Lythe, and Lythe wonders if this is where his life ends. The boss bandit announces that playtime is over, and the people in the cart says that they will kill Lythe. But just then, something snaps for Lythe as he takes his knife from his back pocket and tries to get in a sneak attack on the boss bandit. However, even then, it gets easily deflected, as he says that he can dodge an attack like that, even with his eyes closed. Lythe then, out of nowhere, says that it looks like the boss bandit's abilities aren't all that impressive. The boss bandit then starts to smile annoyed as he goes ham on Lythe. As Lythe is receiving punch after punch, he says that this is frustrating, and he wonders just why he's so weak. But suddenly, he is able to hear a voice. He is confused to what the voice he is hearing is. The voice then tells him that he has obtained the skill physique boost. He thinks that it's a woman's voice before the voice continues, and says that he has also obtained the skill blade boost, which we can clearly see now as he is able to block the boss bandit's sword, and the boss bandit is in complete shock by this. The boss bandit then tries to strike Lythe down, however Lythe spins around the attack and jumps up and cuts the boss bandit in his neck. He then throws his blade onto another bandit and manages to land it right in his face. However, it's far from over, as someone appears behind him and tries to attack with an axe. However, Lyth just turns the axe around and then uses it himself to slay down the bandit. Lyth then starts to laugh manically as he looks pretty fired up. Suddenly, Lyth goes back to normal and the girl from the cart starts to run towards him at full speed. She jumps to him and hugs him. She is starting to cry as she explains that she was so scared. Her dad then comes behind Lyth and says that they own him their life, and if he hadn't intervened, then they would have been dead by now. The dad then asks if his class was an offensive one all along. However, Lyth says that it wasn't, and then he himself starts to wonder how he managed to defeat those bandits. However, he admits that if there's one thing that he remembers, then it was when Lyth hit the boss bandit, and he felt like he got a skill. And then he also heard the voice of a goddess telling him about it. He pats the girl's head, while thinking that he doesn't know what just happened, but that he's glad that he managed to save them. The dad then asks if he can have a word, and Lyth says, of course. The dad says that he'd like to repay Lyth for saving them, and asks if there is anything that he needs help with, be it economic assistance or someone's good offices, explaining that he wants to thank their savior, and that if it's something he can grant, then Lyth shouldn't hesitate to tell him. Lyth is quiet for some time before says that if the dad insists, then there is something that he would like to know and that he would appreciate his help with it. We then get to the next day, where we get to the priest. We see his apprentice coming by and telling him that a man has come requesting a class reassessment. Sir Augustinus tells him to pay him no mind, but the other guy tells him that he bears a letter from one of his friends, which shocks Sir Augustinus. He gets the letter and right away understands what happened. We then see Lyth sitting with Augustinus, and he tells Lyth that he and the girl's dad have been friends for decades, explaining that they haven't seen each other for some years, but it seems like he's doing fine. Lyth is just in awe that the dad knew Augustinus, the kingdom's archbishop. Augustinus then says that he is sure lucky to have survived such a situation. Augustinus then gets right into it, and says that it seems like Lyth has been assigned the jobless class, and asks him if he wants to be reassessed. Augustinus says that normally they don't do that, but since it's a request from a friend, they shall make an exception, but he warns Lyth not to get his hopes too high up. After all, it has never happened before that the crystal would give an incorrect verdict. Augustinus looks in the crystal and says that it's like he thought, and that his class remains blank. But suddenly his face changes, and he says that there are both a physique boost as well as a blade boost. He is amazed, saying that Lyth isn't even a blade master, and wonders how on earth this could happen. He explains that skills aren't something you can give to just anyone either. He goes even deeper, as he says that physique boost and blade boost are combat-oriented skills, which neither farmers nor merchants can learn. However, Lyth still possesses these skills. He tells Lyth that it's already surprising that he don't have a class at 18 years old, and yet he have a blade master's skill despite not being one. Lyth asks what his power means, but Augustinus says that he doesn't know. However, as he is drinking his tea, he thinks of something and tells Lyth to come with him. They then go to the archive chambers. Lyth is amazed by the insane number of books, but Augustinus laughs and says that this is nothing compared to the kingdom's library. He then tells Lyth that he just remembered something and that there was someone in the past who also had no class, saying that according to this book's records, that person had a hidden skill, telling Lyth that their skill was the ability to mimic their opponent's skill, and if his ability is the same, then it should explain his lack of skills. Lyth then tells him that the truth is that he only got the skills after hitting the bandit. Augustinus says that he sees, and says that it's why he possessed combat skills. However, still the finer details remain unclear, and Augustinus tells him that he can't confirm it, and that Lyth has to discover everything on his own. Lyth then leaves, however he thinks that it was good enough finding out that someone in the past had the same circumstances as him. Lyth thinks that he wants to know more about this power, but that he doesn't have a concrete way of doing it. He then smiles and says that in that case he will become a knight, and then figure everything out.